So every organization out there today is basically a digital fortress, right? And it's constantly under attack. The real question is, how do you build one that can actually hold up against today's threats? Well, there's a blueprint for that. It's called Enterprise Security Management, and that's what we're going to dive into right now.
And look, this threat, it's not just some abstract idea. It's real, it's happening all the time. This quote from Gerasim Hovhannisyan, I think, just nails it. The most basic tricks, like faking an email, they're still so effective. It's a pretty scary reminder that even the simplest looking attack can get past the walls. And that's exactly why having a solid fortress is non-negotiable.
Okay, so what is this blueprint we're talking about? Enterprise Security Management. It's not just some software you install or a single firewall you set up and forget. No, it's the whole shebang. It's a complete strategy, a framework that brings together all your rules, your policies, and all your tech, and gets them working together to protect everything. We're talking about your data, your secrets, even your company's reputation. Think of it as the master plan for your entire defense.
All right, first things first, fortifying your core systems, securing the keep of your digital fortress. So where do we even begin building? Well, any good fortress starts with a super strong core, right? The keep. And in our digital world, the keep is your operating systems. And let me tell you, if that core isn't locked down tight, absolutely nothing else you build on top of it is going to matter.
Now, this is where things get really interesting because there are two totally different philosophies for securing that core. First up, you've got the Windows approach with group policy. The best way to think about this is like a king in a castle, making rules and pushing them out to everyone. It's all about centralized management and control. Then, on the other side, you have the Linux world with SE Linux. This is completely different. It uses what's called mandatory access control. This is less like a king's decree and more like the laws of physics for the system. It's built on a default deny principle, which basically means if something isn't explicitly, specifically allowed, it just doesn't happen. Period. Okay, guarding the digital gates, defending your email and network perimeter. So once our core, our keep, is secure, we've got to shift our focus to the perimeter, the main gates. And this is huge because these are the spots that get attacked most often. We're talking about the main doors in and out of your fortress, your email and your network. Email is probably the #1 way attackers try to get in. So guarding that gate is a 3-step job. It's actually a pretty cool system. Step 1 is SPF. Think of this as the gate guard checking the messenger's ID. Are you really from the kingdom you say you're from? Step 2 is DKIM. Now the guard looks at the message itself. Does it have the official, unbroken royal seal? This proves it hasn't been tampered with. And finally, step 3, DMARC. This is the standing order for the guard. It says, hey, if the ID is fake or the seal is broken, you have my full authority to throw that message out. Don't even let it in. And if you're wondering, is all that really necessary? Yes. Oh, yes, it is. Because the consequences for getting this wrong are just staggering. Take a look at this. Back in 2015, the tech company Ubiquiti lost, get this, $46.7 million. And it wasn't from some super sophisticated nation-state malware. Nope. It was from a business email compromise attack. Scammers just pretended to be a company executive in an email. That's it. That is the price you can pay for an unguarded gate. Now, besides email, you've got your main network gate. And here, you really need 2 kinds of guards working together. First, you have an IDS, an intrusion detection system. The best analogy is a watchtower. It's got a great view, it sees all the traffic coming and going, and if it spots something shady, it sounds the alarm. But that's all it does. It just alerts you. That's where the IPS, the intrusion prevention system, comes in. This isn't the watchtower. This is the gatekeeper standing right in the road. It's actively inspecting traffic and has the power to just stop malicious stuff in its tracks before it ever gets inside. So, easy way to remember it. One detects, the other prevents. Right. Section 3, detecting the enemy within. We're talking about sentinels inside the fortress walls. Because, let's be real, even with the best walls and the smartest gatekeepers, a really clever attacker might just find a way to slip through. So what happens then? Well, that's why your next layer of defense absolutely has to be the sentinels who are already inside the walls, patrolling the grounds. So who are these modern sentinels? We're talking about tools like EDR and XDR. That's endpoint detection and response and extended detection and response. Basically, these are your security guards, and they're patrolling every single device on your network. Laptops, servers, you name it. And what's cool is they're not just looking for a list of known bad guys. They're using behavioral analysis. They're watching for anything or anyone, even a totally legitimate user that starts acting weird. And the moment they spot a threat, bam, They can automatically lock it down and give you all the forensic tools you need to figure out exactly how the breach happened. Okay, but here's where we need a serious dose of reality, because no single piece of tech is a magic bullet that solves everything. And this quote, this is a tough one, but it's so important. It's about the huge SolarWinds attack. It says that every single EDR solution that was deployed by the companies that got hit failed. They all failed to detect and respond to the attack. Now, that's not to say EDR is useless, not at all, but it's a pretty stark reminder that it's just one single layer in a much, much deeper defense.
So if EDR isn't enough on its own, what other sentinels do we have patrolling inside? Well, there are a few key players. You've got DLP, or data loss prevention. Think of this as the guard posted at the exit, making sure nobody walks out with the crown jewels, your sensitive data. Then there's FIM, file integrity monitoring. This is like the castle architect who knows every single stone and beam. It's constantly checking to make sure no one's made any unauthorized changes to critical system files. And finally, UBA, User Behavior Analytics. This is your spy master, your intelligence chief. It's not just looking at files, it's looking at people, identifying when a trusted account starts acting suspiciously, which could mean it's compromised or, an insider threat. So now we're at our unified defense strategy, and this is really the main point. It's a system, not a checklist. We've looked at securing the core, guarding the perimeter, and posting sentinels inside, but the single most important thing to get from all this is that security is not about buying a bunch of tools and checking off boxes. It's about building an integrated, intelligent system where all these pieces are talking to each other and working together as one unified defense. And holding this whole system together is one core, fundamental idea. It's called the principle of least privilege, and it's actually super simple, but incredibly powerful. All it means is this: you only give a user or a system the absolute bare minimum level of access they need to do their job. Nothing more. You wouldn't give the stable hand the keys to the royal treasury, right? Same idea. Why? Because if that account ever gets compromised, you've dramatically limited the amount of damage an attacker can do. You've shrunk their playground. At the end of the day, cybersecurity isn't a product you can just buy off a shelf. It's a process. It's something you do constantly. It's a never-ending cycle of building, testing, and adapting your defenses, which really leaves us with just one final question to think about. Is your fortress ready for tomorrow's siege?